Hello and welcome to week 7 of the course EU Security and the Future of NATO. In the previous weeks, you explored the institutional development of NATO and the European Union, as well as their cooperation in managing international security challenges. This week, you will focus on NATO enlargement and its geopolitical implications for European and global security. Since the end of the Cold War, NATO has expanded significantly, incorporating many countries from Central and Eastern Europe. Understanding this process will help you analyze how alliance expansion influences geopolitical dynamics, regional stability, and relations between major powers. The enlargement of NATO represents one of the most important geopolitical developments in Europe since the end of the Cold War. Countries that joined NATO after the collapse of the Soviet Union sought membership in order to strengthen their security, stabilize democratic institutions, and integrate into the Euro-Atlantic political community. However, NATO enlargement has also generated significant geopolitical debates and tensions, particularly in relation to Russia's perception of the alliance's expansion. These dynamics illustrate how security alliances can influence the balance of power in international politics. As you analyze this topic, you should consider both the strategic benefits and the geopolitical risks associated with alliance expansion. This week introduces several key concepts that will help you analyze the strategic implications of NATO enlargement. One important concept is Euro-Atlantic integration, which refers to the political and security integration of European countries into Western institutions. Another key concept is the security dilemma, which occurs when actions taken by one state to increase its security are perceived as threats by other states. This concept is particularly relevant when analyzing how NATO expansion affects the strategic calculations of neighboring countries. As you review the course materials, you should reflect on how these concepts help explain the dynamics of international security competition. During this week, you will complete several learning activities designed to deepen your understanding of NATO enlargement and its geopolitical implications. First, you should review the lecture materials and assigned readings, which explain the historical phases of NATO enlargement and their strategic consequences. Next, you will participate in the discussion forum, where you will analyze different perspectives on NATO expansion. You will also complete a short quiz, which will help you review the key concepts introduced in this week's module. Finally, you will complete a weekly analytical project, where you will evaluate the geopolitical impact of NATO enlargement. This week also includes an interactive analytical activity. In this activity, you will examine the different phases of NATO enlargement and analyze how the alliance expanded into Central and Eastern Europe. You will evaluate the strategic motivations behind enlargement and consider the perspectives of both NATO member states and neighboring countries. As you complete the activity, you should reflect on how geopolitical developments influence the expansion of international alliances and how these decisions shape regional security dynamics. In the discussion forum, you will analyze the following question: does NATO enlargement enhance European security or contribute to geopolitical tensions with Russia? When writing your response, you should support your argument using examples from the readings or policy materials introduced in this week's module. Your initial post should present a clear analytical perspective, and you should also respond constructively to the contributions of at least 2 classmates. The discussion forum will allow you to explore multiple perspectives on one of the most debated issues in contemporary international security. At the end of the weekly module, you will complete a short quiz designed to help you review the key concepts introduced this week. The quiz will focus on topics such as the phases of NATO enlargement, the concept of the security dilemma, the geopolitical implications of alliance expansion. Completing the quiz will help you reinforce your understanding before moving to the next module. Your weekly project will focus on analyzing the strategic implications of NATO enlargement. You may choose the format that best demonstrates your understanding of the topic. For example, you may submit a policy analysis essay, a short video explanation, a podcast commentary, an infographic, or a narrated presentation. Regardless of the format you choose, your project should demonstrate critical analysis and engagement with the key concepts introduced this week. To guide your work, please consult the assessment rubric available in the course platform. The rubric explains how your project will be evaluated, focusing on conceptual understanding, analytical reasoning, use of evidence, clarity of communication. Using the rubric while preparing your project will help you produce a strong and well-structured submission. Week 7 provides an important opportunity to analyze how geopolitical developments influence the expansion of international security alliances. As you work through this week's materials, you should think critically about how NATO enlargement has reshaped the European security landscape and how it continues to influence international relations today. Your analysis this week will prepare you for the upcoming modules, where you will explore transatlantic relations, NATO crisis interventions, and the future of European security governance. I look forward to seeing your ideas in the discussion forum and your analytical projects in the weekly assignment. Good luck with your work this week,